Foxes, Weeds, and Jealousy. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. And we got to pull in our Gretsch guitar for it that we acquired for this project, and Chris Morrison just made it beefy. Just as a fun fact, like behind the scenes and behind the lyrics, I was writing this through 2020, 2021, and we were producing Ballads of the Revelation, Ballads of the Exodus, and this song, we were filming like one of the beach scenes for Ballads of the Exodus, and so we're just carting all of our gear from the trucks to the shore, lights and generators and sandbag, whatever stuff, and suddenly I had this first verse in my head with the rhythm, the melody, and everything, and I was like, trying to write it into my notes and like hum it into the voice memo. The wind's whipping all over the place, but that's fun for me, that even just the production of it is like interwoven. There was something about working on those films that would like open up this creative box in my head, and all these songs I was struggling with trying to figure out how to approach, they would just drop in my gut while we were working on this other thing, so that was cool. But this song, Foxes, Weeds, and Jealousy, is like the door in that everybody is involved. You hear from everybody. So you hear from him in the first verse. He says, "My mind is spinning, hun. I got more thoughts than these grains. The sun is bleeding red here in the wilderness." So the sun's going down. How precious are your thoughts towards me, O God? How great is the sum of them? It's like, if I could count all the sand in the sea, you would have more thoughts even than that. Jesus has lots of thoughts about us, but some of which put our pet sins on his hit list. That's what he's thinking about. Because Proverbs 6:34 tells us that jealousy is a husband's fury. Therefore, he will not spare in the day of vengeance. The day of vengeance is the day of the Lord, but also just today. He will not share his glory with another. Praise God. But also Hosea 2, that I said, in the last video, we're gonna spend a lot of time in Hosea 2. He says, the people of Israel will number as many grains of sand by the sea. Like the stars in the sky, the sand on the seashore, cannot be measured or counted. And it will be said to them, it was said, you are not my people. It will be said, you are the children of the living God. You are my people. Then the people of Judah, the people of Israel will be gathered together. They will appoint for themselves one leader. They'll go up out of the land. It will be a great day. Therefore, behold, I will allure her, bring her into the wilderness, and speak comfort to her. This is just, I'm kind of running over verses 1 to 14. Just go park in Hosea 2. That's the point. But this is the Lord making war on the idols and purging Baal, purging the other names from the lips. But you've got all this other trust in your confused heart's allegiances, but not one belongs inside this hedge. Psalm 139, you've hedged me in behind and before. Hosea 2, therefore behold, I will hedge your way up with thorns and wall her in. Luke 21 says, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, he will draw her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. I'll bind up every lust you found, I'll strike a match, burn them to the ground. Then the ensemble, the voice of wisdom comes in and says, it's better not to take a vow than make and not keep it, which is a line from Ecclesiastes, just because, again, we're trying to pull in different things Solomon wrote. Do not awaken love before it pleases. 2 things that show no mercy, 3 that devour everything. Pulling from some of the language in Proverbs. Foxes, those thieves. Foxes are small, fast, and difficult to catch. I don't know if you've ever seen a fox or been around them, but my dog will try to chase them down in the Golan, which is not helpful because they are small, fast, and difficult to catch. And foxes, the Song of Solomon says, catch for us the foxes because they're spoiling the vineyard. These little budding fruits are getting devoured by these foxes, by these little compromises, before they're actually able to come to fruition. And you want to bear fruit, right? John 15, bear fruit. If you don't bear fruit, you're cut off. If you do bear fruit, you're pruned. So it's good news and bad news, but catch for us the foxes and these suffocating weeds, but none can stand the fury of a husband's jealousy. He will not relent. And then he says, they say that bitterness will be the death of fallen flesh, but I have seen ego do the very same thing. They say, I say, I'm quoting a song I wrote called Costly, that bitterness is the death of fallen flesh, but and the cowards will run when love demands courage, and all those costly things. So we don't want to be a coward, right? Go all in. Be brave. Ego can keep you from the fullness of God in your life. Even all your hidden thoughts, every decision you think I'm not aware of, and all the tangles you've been caught. You know, we think of Psalm 139 again, the Lord's thoughts towards us. I love the things about the Lord that make me uncomfortable. I've come to love them. Like, he will, you know, Mike Bickle always says he will remove everything that hinders love. Sometimes that's things that you're thinking about. A.W. Tozer said that what comes into your mind when you think about God is the most important thing about you. And if something comes into your mind when you think about God that is not true of God, despite all your good intentions, it's still blasphemy. It's still not true. So you need to know God as he has revealed himself. And the stage that he set to reveal himself is Jerusalem. He is the main character. Ephesians 3 says the whole point to this is to put the manifold wisdom of God on display through his people to the powers and principalities of the air. This is very much not about us, but he is jealous for us. So then she enters and says, hey, I'm not here to lead you on. I'm just not ready to abandon everything you've entrusted to me. Even once I heard you speak, but sleep is where voices and dreams compete for love and clarity. I'm already all settled in. How could you ask me to uproot again? Sometimes when we're feeling the weight of the cost bear down on us, it can, you know, we're like, is this God? Is this the devil? Is this pizza? And we feel the burden of stewardship, but this song is meant to help us evaluate, you know, the things in our life that feel difficult to say yes to, that maybe the Lord's inviting us into, but it's worth it, and he won't really take no for an answer. You can circle around the mulberry bush a few times, he will bring you around it again. And then the ensemble as it closes says, all healthy things grow, get pruned so you go, he has his day, he'll have his way. You know, Isaiah says that the Lord has a day that he has purposed. Who can annul it? His hand is stretched out. Who can turn it back? Isaiah 2 says, the day of the Lord of hosts shall come upon everything proud and lofty. Everything that is lifted up will be brought low. So we want to walk in humility now. So give up what you cannot keep. Cling to what you cannot lose. Don't be a fool. Beloved, do not be a fool. One thing that we see, you know, this is Jesus throughout the Gospels. He who finds his life will lose it. He who loses his life for my sake will find it. But in Matthew 7, he says, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on the house, but it did not fall because it was founded on the rock. But if you don't obey what you hear me say, then you build your house on sand, and when the storm comes, your house will implode and collapse and you have nothing. That would be foolish. Don't do that. So, don't be a fool.